Something new. Stop, drop, shut them down, open up shop. Oh, no.
What's going on, y'all? Marcus here, back in the shop, and I'm gonna hit you from a different angle, pause, but yo, the lighting, and I need some shades because this shit is just, the reflection is hitting the camera all crazy. I know you can see from my arm right there, but whatever, so try to ignore that. But either way, we talking about Joe Budden's new diss track towards Drake, Making a Murder Part 1. And it seems like every year or every few months, Drake steps into some shit or gets into some shit with a different artist that's trying to go for that neck. Pause, I guess. I don't know, that might have been a little gay, but whatever. This all kind of started off of Drake's song 4 p.m. in Calabasas, which when I heard it, I thought it was just a bunch of subliminals towards Puffy with the ha 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 and the no one can hold me down and the no way out, all those Diddy references. I really thought it was all about Puffy. And then a couple weeks ago, a segment of Joe Budden's podcast came out where he was just completely breaking down the song, talking about how Drake is going at Joe Budden as well. It's not just Diddy. Like, there's one line that to me sticks out that's like, okay, this shit does make sense, is when he said, look at the demeanor, it spells envious. And if you don't know, Fat Joe has an album called Jose, Jose. Jealous ones still envy. Jose. What happens if you take the S out of Jose? You got Joe. Jealous ones envy. And that to me was the only line that really stuck out to make it seem like, wow, Drake is potentially taking shots at Joe Budden. Other than that, I'm not really sure, because the way Budden breaks it down, he's either a real hip-hop genius and needs to be on rapgenius.com or something, or he's just a crazy conspiracy theorist and he's really just looking for relevancy. I'm not really sure. Y'all let me know in the comment section what you think, because a lot of people are thinking that he's just reaching and he's really looking for relevancy, but the way he breaks it down is pretty dope. I do appreciate and the way he does it, because it is really interesting. So I will say that I really have no opinion on who's right and who's wrong. Like, I'm not taking sides. Y'all know how I felt about Drake's views up. I didn't think it was all that. And as far as Joe Budden goes, I really have the same feelings towards him that I have against Joel Ortiz, where they're super talented when it comes to lyrics. Like, these are the guys that you do not want to mess with. But as far as albums go, I feel like both rappers are just okay. Their albums really haven't done anything for me specifically. And I'm not taking a shot at Slaughterhouse because they're phenomenal, but them two, I really don't feel like their albums really do anything for me. But then again, you compare them to what's his face, Royce. I felt like his last album was pretty dope, even though I didn't review it. So I'm not taking a shot at Slaughterhouse like that. I just personally, I don't feel like their albums are all that to me. That shows you that I'm not really biased on the situation. But I will say the diss track is tough as fuck, yo. The beat is fire, and just the way he breaks it down is ridiculous. Like, props to Joe for that. Like, this man's taking no hostages. He's obviously going at Drake because that's what everyone's talking about, and he's obviously going at Meek. In the beginning, he says, I'm taking no alliances with Meek. Fuck him, pretty much. And it's called Making a Murder Part 1. So we can only assume that Part 2 is going to be about Meek Mill. And really, when you listen to it, he's also going in at Jay. He has a few lines going at Jay. We all know that Jay and Drake have been going at it back and forth. They've been sending little subliminal shots here and there. Now, if you're not familiar, Joe Budden actually was signed to Def Jam like over 10 years ago, and around 10 years ago, Jay-Z was president of Def Jam. So he has a line that says, I don't work for you, but I'm doing your job for you, or I'm doing the work for you, signifying that, yo, I'm not with that fuck shit. I'm not with that sending subliminal shots at rappers. If I got something to say to you, I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna name drop. And we all know Jay does not drop names, if ever, since like the Takeover days. He's done it a couple times here and there. Like, I know he got at Jim Jones. I know he got at his Rockefeller artists like Beanie Siegel, but they weren't never that serious. He's really been sending shots at Jay with the Miss Drizzy line. Okay, he name dropped right there. But other lines like, and I got the keys, he threw a little slight jab at Drake and them. They could be going back and forth and shit like that. But either way, Joe wasn't having that shit. He's like, yo, I'm letting you know, Hov, I'm coming for that crown, man. I'm going at you. One of the lines that he has against Jay, I may be reaching, so let me know what y'all think. But he does say, I make them words flip like yoga. Talking about Hova or whatever. Hova, I make the words flip like yoga. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, Nas has a line on Ether where he says, you 35 and taking 35 or 36 and you still taking karate, you Taibo ho, something like that. 35, 36 in a karate class, you Taibo ho. And I'm thinking he's kind of snatching that idea from there by saying, I make the words flip like yoga, and he kind of rhymed his name Yoga with Hova. Yoga, karate, not sure if it makes sense or not, but to me, maybe a slight diss. Don't really know for sure. Y'all let me know what you think. And again, I'm pretty sure he's going to be doing part 2 against Meek, but that doesn't say Meek here. He also sends a line towards him where he says to Drake, "You gassed up after knocking out Omika." May not be a huge diss right there, but as a man, I'm not really into that cute lovey-dovey romancy shit when girls combine a celebrity's name together. Like we have Meek Mill and Onika, Nicki Minaj, they combine their name to Omika. I think that's some real lovey-dovey whack shit, so I'm not really into that as a man. So I really feel like he was testing his manhood, because that was Joe Budden's issue with Meek, is that all that gangster shit, that street shit that you're talking about, but you're so head over heels over this chick. That was his issue with Meek Mill, which to me, I feel like that's none of your business, but it is what it is. I'm just explaining to you where that came from. Overall, there's so much shit to break down within this song. We all know he's talking about Drake. There's so much going on. Again, I really can't go into the beginnings of just where this came from. Just listen to that podcast. I really feel like a lot of it came from Joe Budden just saying that he wasn't feeling views. And I think one of Drake's lines, or what Subliminal, was that, to break it down, apparently Joe was feeling some kind of way that Drake was taking Tahiri out to DR, going on vacation and shit like that. And according to Joe Budden's podcast, he was saying, yo, I don't care if you fuck my shorty. I don't care if you fuck my girl, because where I come from, the school that I come from, these girls are for everybody. This is what he said on his song and within his podcast. So that's like a slight little summary of basically where it kind of stemmed from. There's a lot more to that, but just listen to the podcast. Either way, there's so much to break down within the song. I can't talk about it all because it would literally take like an hour or two, because there's so much going on. But I will say the one line that a lot of people are going in at Joe for, I really feel like it is underappreciative of how much of a genius Joe is. He says that you're signed to Five Guys, which makes you a burger. A lot of people on Twitter are just clowning him for that. Like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, what is that? Like, that sounds corny. But really, if you break it down, Drake is signed to Young Money, Cash Money, Wayne, and Birdman, and I'm sure there's a bunch of other higher ups, because Birdman is signed to somebody. You know, Cash Money isn't its own record label. I think it's signed to Universal or something. Who are their biggest artists right now other than Wayne? We got Drake and Nicki Minaj. What kind of music do they make? They make pop commercial music, otherwise known as that fast food shit. What is Five Guys? Five Guys is fast food, aka Drake is a greasy cheeseburger for the most part, because he's fast food, he's bubblegum pop, according to Joe Budden. And I will say that Drake is a dope rapper when he wants to be. So I will say that's a similarity that him and Cheeseburgers got going on from Five Guys, because they dope when they want to be. Drake can spit his ass off when he wants to be. A cheeseburger from Five Guys can be dope when it wants to be, but that doesn't mean it's good for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit is greasy and it's expensive as fuck. Who's trying to spend $25 or $12 on a hamburger meal? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's dope when it wants to be. And that's kind of feel about Drake. He's dope when he wants to be, when he spits. Other than that, it's just that commercial cheap bullshit for the most part, according to Joe Budden. Oh, I'm so mad I just compared Drake to a cheeseburger. Honestly, this is what I've said before. This is a popularity contest. All these rap beefs now are just straight, who is the more popular rapper? We're gonna go for that guy. According to GP, to the general, or GA, general audience, general purpose, whatever. The general audience, if they're not super into hip hop, they're not hip hop heads, they're going to go with Drake because he is the current relevant artist. Joe Budden, according to them, is irrelevant and looking for some kind of relevancy back in the game. He's just a tired old man, I don't know, looking for attention for the most part. And this is pretty much what I said last year when Meek and Drake were going at it. This is where Meek shot himself in the foot. It took him about 3 or 4 days to make a response, right? So of course he got clowned for that. Not only were people already riding for Drake because he's the more popular artist, but then it took him 3 to 4 days to come out with a diss track, and yeah, it was mediocre. The shit was whack. It wasn't all that. Nobody listens to that song. So people clowned him for that. Of course, Meek still had his diehard audience. Props to y'all, because y'all tear me a new one when I was saying how whack it is, and I still stick to that. But months down the line, later on, when the beef started to simmer down and shit was getting cold, nobody was really thinking about it anymore. Meek Mill started dropping out more diss songs towards Drake, and people were going at him again because they were like, yo, why are you still breaking this shit up? Even though the songs were hot, it's a popularity contest. Drake is the bigger artist. So I feel like it's going to be the same thing here. Joe is going to have the respect that he gets, that he deserves from the hip-hop head community. But from the general audience, they're gonna look at him as a loser, as an old man trying to look for relevancy in the game, no matter how hot the song is. And this shit is hot. Like, it's been on rotation all day at 66 Raw Radio, which is an online app which y'all need to download, which I work for, so go download that right now. 66 Raw Radio, that raw, uncut hip-hop shit. Go check that out. And it's been on rotation all day, so I'm really fucking with it. But a lot of people are saying that the shit that he was reaching for isn't worth a 6-minute response, because this song is really long. Again, I'm not taking any side to it. I'm just stating what I feel like is gonna happen. And really, I don't even think Joe Budden really hates dude like that. Like, his diss does not seem malicious. If you listen to that podcast that he dropped, the segment that he dropped, he's kind of giving him props as an MC, because Drake is really good at sending subliminals and doing double entendres and stuff like that. He's really good at that. He's giving him his props. He's even rocking to the song 4 p.m. in Calabasas. So I feel like Joe Budden isn't really just on some malicious attack, because to me it seems like he's on some kung fu shit, like, oh, you are a worthy opponent, now check my style. And I feel like that's what he's on. I can't say if he's on the same level as far as Meek Mill. He may really not like Meek Mill for whatever reason. Y'all let me know what you think, and what do you expect is going to happen on Making a Murder Part 2. Again, this shit is dope. There's so much to talk about within this song, but you guys just need to listen to it and just look up the lyrics, because there's way too much to talk about to break it down completely. But overall, I like the song. I don't know if Drake is going to respond. I don't even know if he needs to respond, honestly. Again, he's on top of the world in the hip-hop community right now. Pop hip-hop community, y'all know what I mean. Either way, y'all let me know in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe, follow me on Instagram and Twitter, download 66 Raw Radio, and I'll catch y'all later.